Welcome back to Growing the Game podcast. Today, we are joined by a proud representative of Kenyan basketball, a player who has seen the game grow from the grassroots level all the way to the national stage. He has laced up the sneakers on the court and represented Kenya with pride, giving him a unique and vital perspective on the realities and the immense potentials of the game in East Africa. We are excited to dive into this journey and insight. A warm welcome, Derrick Ogechi.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, it's nice we finally got to put this together and get it going.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so to start with, I'd like us to dive into your journey so far uh, across the continent. My first question would be take us back to the beginning. What was your first introduction to basketball in Kenya, and what was it about the game that captured your heart?
Actually, my first introduction to basketball in Kenya was in 2021. I came on vacation from the US to play basketball. Actually, to come on vacation. I was vacationing with my family, and I just messaged the Kenyan National Team manager at the time. I asked if I could just get some shots up and work out while I'm here. And then she responded, yeah, they're having training camp getting ready for Afro basket, actually. So then she's like, yeah, just come practice. You can shoot with us and all that. So when I got there, I was shooting around, hanging out with all the guys. And then she's like, you know what? You might as well just stay here for training camp. So I just stayed with
Yeah.
training camp, eventually made the team. First time ever. I was the youngest guy on the team. Got to go to Afro basket, but the day before the game started, I was ruled ineligible. But that was my very first experience being able to play here in Kenya.
Okay. I guess the person who introduced you to the team must be Maxine, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Shout outs to Maxine. Good work there.
For sure. Shout out to
So,
her.
yeah, yeah. My second question is, who were your local Kenyan basketball heroes growing up, and how did they influence your dreams and style of play?
But definitely the legends here are Griffin Legare, Tyler Ongwai. For me personally, like the people that helped me when I first got here was Jose Kayemba and as well as Eric Matoro. Because they played the
Okay.
two and the one, they kind of just like helped me filter into being a Kenyan basketball player. But the collective group of all of them have definitely pushed Kenyan basketball and made me look up to them and be like, I want to be like them one day and push Kenyan basketball as far as I can too, just like they did.
That's a nice vision over there. Coming from that, as you stated in your first submission, you stated that you came from the States on vacation. You know, transiting from another continent to another continent isn't an easy thing. There will be challenges and hurdles you face. So, what has been the most significant challenge or hurdle you've had to overcome in your basketball career in Kenya?
First, in the basketball game itself, in basketball, I think the physicality was the biggest difference coming from the States where, the whistle is a little more tight.
Yeah,
Now coming to Africa, especially here in Kenya, they let a lot of stuff go. So being able
yeah,
to adjust to the physicality of the game, that was the first thing I noticed. But then the whole aspect outside of just the game, the infrastructure here in Kenya, we don't have too many indoor courts as like in the US. I could walk down the street
yeah,
and I could find a gym, indoor gym.
yeah,
But being here in
yeah.
Kenya, we only got two or three, a couple of them. So the
Mm.
access to the gyms is really tough. Other than that, like, everything is pretty much simple and similar. It's basketball at the end of the day.
Yeah, yeah. I get people talk about this infrastructure thing, and I think it's a major issue across the continent a lot, whereby we have
For
less
sure.
infrastructures when it comes to developing the game. Um,
Hmm.
so you've spent some years playing in Kenya, playing for the Nairobi City Thunders, and you've represented the national team also. Can you share a specific moment, a game, a shot, or a team achievement that stands out as the proudest of your career so far?
So far, I think the proudest moment was definitely last year or two
Hmm.
years now when we were the first Kenyan team to qualify for the BAL. I think that in itself, being able to do a historic achievement like that and to go into the BAL 5 is definitely the proudest moment, to be able to represent your own country and to get over that hump together as a team. I think that's my proudest moment so far.
And you are on your way to your second BAL season as well. So
Yep.
congrats to you on that. Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Excited. Definitely
Okay.
excited for it.
Yeah, yeah. Let's shift away from your journey so far and dive into the state of basketball since you've spent some years playing in the country as well. Let's see your view on how basketball has evolved so far in Kenya. My first question would be, how would you describe the current heartbeat of basketball in Kenya? Is the passion growing among the youths over there?
Definitely. The passion is growing here. The game, the fans, the excitement, everything is growing. I think the way Nairobi City Thunder has helped push the game in the past few years has brought excitement back to basketball here in Kenya. You see it from the youth. Youth are starting to come to the game, starting to, be a basketball player, like want to get into camps, want to start training. Then you can even see it in like the older generation as well. They're starting to come to the games. You
Yeah.
don't just see like just the youth, but it's also the older generation. Now we have entertainment guys coming in. We have singers,
Mm,
actresses, actors, all those guys now coming to the game where now we don't even have space at the any Nairobi City Thunder games. So it's an exciting time
yeah.
for basketball right now. Many people, since I've arrived, every single game, there's always someone telling me this is my first basketball game, and now I'm a big fan. So I'm gonna keep coming. So
Mm.
the excitement level of basketball here in Kenya is growing definitely every single day. So very excited for that.
Yeah, that's a nice achievement. At least that's what we want to see on the continent as well. We see massive crowd, just like the way we see in the NBA arenas day in day out. So yeah, we want to see something like that on African continent as well. So my next question will be around. You made mention of infrastructure issues in Kenya as well. Aside that, from a player's perspective, what is the biggest gap between the talent in Kenya and resources available to develop it?
The gap for me would probably be, besides infrastructure, it'd probably be just like the way basketball is coached out here. In the
Mm,
past, it was all about like being a transition team, like more physicality, and that's how the game was
yeah.
played. But now, since the game is growing and skill is becoming a big thing, so I think the gap right now for us is skill. As we continue to, have better infrastructure or more training, now we get better at shooting. Now we get better at ball handling. Now we get better at tactics. So now the coaching styles become, instead of physicality and transition game, more plays, more sets, more execution wise. So I think that's the gap that we have right now here in Kenya.
Mm, yeah, we pray that gap will be bridged very soon. I see the federation are putting in a lot of work, trying to
For sure.
bring more passion into the games. Yeah, hopefully, as the game keeps growing, things around the game will also evolve. And yeah, you've
Exactly.
represented, yeah, you've won the national team jersey and represented the national team at national level. From your perspective, Kenya has immense athletic talent when it comes to the talent wise. Kenya has immense athletic talent. But often they do struggle against West African powerhouses. In your opinion, what is the missing piece needed for Kenya to become a consistent contender in Africa?
Honestly, I don't think it's the talent. Like you said, we definitely have talent, but I think it's just like the West African teams, those guys play together year round. And
Mm,
Nairobi City Thunder has done a great job of bringing all the national team guys to one team. So right now we're playing year round all the time together. So just like those guys,
yeah.
they're getting a whole bunch of chemistry and camaraderie. So now that Kenya, we have a team now, Nairobi City Thunder, that's professionalized and brought everyone
Mm,
back. I think that's our next step. And now also with the federation, now we have more practices, more, training camps to allow each other to mesh together. So I think that would be the next step
yeah.
for us as a national team, to where now we could take the next step and become a powerhouse like the West Africans.
Yeah. That's good. And yeah, East Africa is actually pulling its horses up, and we've seen lots of competition happening day in day out across the East African region. So yeah, we want to see. We want the only thing is we want to see this East African nations also put up that competition and compete against the other continents. Other regions in the continent as well. So yeah. Okay. Um. This will be a bit tricky. I'm going to ask anyway. What role can the Kenyan Basketball Federation and corporate sponsors play in creating a more sustainable and professional environment for players like you?
Obviously, you see the leagues, you see the NBA, you see Euro League, you see all these other leagues. They have sponsorships. That's what runs the
Yeah,
leagues, funds the leagues. It gives them the benefit to, bring more media attention, grow the game, not only in our country, but East Africa. And then you could say all of Africa. It brings a spotlight to Kenyan basketball, not only the players, but the game itself. So the ability to get sponsorships will obviously push the game, bring money to our league and also our whole country. So I think that the more sponsorships we gain here in Kenya, the more and also the better the players we have, the better the league, the better the coaches. So where's just elevation? I think that's where the next phase is for the federation and also basketball here in Kenya.
Well put, and well understood as well. I think the Kenyan fans would actually take one or two from what you just said, and if any of the federation representatives, like the chairperson or anybody is watching this, I think yeah, they should take some keynotes and then work towards it moving forward. Yeah. Let's talk about continental game. You've not just only played in Kenya. You've played on the continental stage. Then when we talk about BAL and Afro basket qualifiers and stuff, you've played against different kind of players. Having likely played against teams from across the continent, how have you seen the level and professionalism of African basketball change over the years?
But definitely, the game has grown in Africa for sure. I think, like I spoke earlier, I think before it's just all about physicality and who's the more physical team, who has the better athletes, and who can just like at the end of the day get the more stops. Even like if you look at the box scores, the scores were really low scoring games. But now, if you
Yeah.
see even last year's BAL, teams are scoring in the hundreds. So now the
Hmm.
skill of all players, the skill of the game, skill of the coaches, I think has definitely grown in the past few years. And you can see it in turn as players are getting better, scores are higher, defense abilities, athletes, everything. Like the game has grown so much. Like if you could watch film on the previous years to now, you could just see
Yeah.
basketball is changing. And I think as we continue to grow, like continue to get better.
Yeah. What you what you said is very true, and we've seen the immense changes across the continent, even in the BL, and it's getting more interesting and interesting. Still staying on the BL topic, the Basketball African League, BL for short, is a massive platform now in Africa. It's a hot cake now in Africa. How has its existence changed aspiration and visibility for players in a country like Kenya?
But before it used to be like, oh, I want to go to the US, I want to go to Europe to go play. But now since there's a BAL, now guys are talking about let's go play in the BAL. Let's represent Kenya. Like now we actually have a team to play in such a big intercontinental cup. I mean, in a African continent cup. So the ability to do that here in Kenya, like guys are like really working to do that, to be on this type of team. So the excitement now to be able to stay at home and be a professional player in such a big league has just changed the whole aspect of now. All right, let me try to do it here at home instead of having to go to Europe or having to go to the US to, accomplish your dream of being a professional basketball player.
We've also seen Kenya, as we said earlier, talking about the style of play Kenya brings to the table and all that. I would want to ask also, what does an East African nation like Kenya bring to the table in terms of style of play and passion that might be different from other regions? Aside the style and the system, the physicality wise and everything, what other thing does Kenya bring to the table?
Definitely our passion and our work ethic. There's never a time that we're just gonna be down. Like if we're down 10, like we're not gonna put our heads down. We're gonna go to work no matter what the score is. If we're up 10, down 10, we're gonna definitely be out there competing the entire time. Our work ethic is the one that shows after a while, and we're always going. There's no way we're ever gonna stop. I think that's what we bring to the game. We're also like always pushing the boundaries, try to see how good we can get. And I think that's the big difference between other countries. I think the entire time we're pushing to see, you know, fighting to get a W at the end of the day.
Yeah. Well put. And before we move to the next segment of this podcast, we've seen competitions just ended, like the Eastern Zone competition that happened last year for the Eastern Zone teams. After the leagues ended, we've seen Kenya host the BAL, road to BAL, and with massive crowd being pulled. How important it is for East African countries to build a stronger regional league or tournament system to raise more level of competition.
I think it was good to not only see the BAL Elite 16, but also see the East African Cup being held here in Kenya. You definitely get to see a wide range of teams, especially those around East African, to be able to, come to one place and compete against each other. So, like you said, uplift each other's leagues And, at the end of the day, we all have pride. So, you want to be the number one team in these
Yeah,
competitions. So it definitely helps you
exactly.
like go see where you are amongst the teams here in East Africa. So if you're second, third, you didn't finish well, you're definitely going to go back to your country and, put in the work to make sure that the next year, whenever you have the opportunity, you want to, be the country that's at the top.
I'm going to ask this one quickly before we move on. How do you see the Kenyan League in competition wise? Because we've seen your team, Nairobi City Thunder, win this league unbeaten like twice already, if I'm not mistaken. How do you see the competition level in Kenyan basketball?
The competition level is good, but Nairobi City Thunder is a good team with a lot of good players. It's tough to compete against us, but the league is definitely good. It's growing. I think the top 8 teams are really good, and the other ones are just trying to compete to, push to the playoffs. But I think the league in general is pretty good.
Okay. Okay. So the next segment of this would be advice to the next generation. I like to engage the experts of the games to give advices to the young talents coming up so that they can also learn from you guys and follow your footsteps as well. So my first question on this would be, what is the single most important piece of advice you would give a young talented kids in Kibera or any estate in Kenya who dreams of playing basketball professionally?
My advice to them would be to stay consistent. Where you at right now is not where you're gonna be in like the next 10 years. For me, I wasn't that good when I started, but now I'm a professional basketball player. So consistency every single day. I think it's all about making a whole game. I don't think just because you're a point guard, that means you shouldn't be doing post up moves. Or if you're a big man, you shouldn't be working on your ball handling or your 3-point shot, even. But I think consistency at the end of the day is what's going to push people from being just a regular player to being a professional player. So just staying consistent at it, working on your individual game every single day outside of just team practice, but also getting your own skill work in. So my advice to them would being consistent every single day.
Okay, that's nice. Also, I'm a player myself, and sometimes I keep telling my friends that basketball goes beyond just scoring points. There are other departments in basketball which is also needed to secure a win for a team. But in this
Hmm.
generation in which we are, kids don't get to understand it. It's more all about scoring points, claiming the MVP, averaging 30 points or 20 points in a game, and yeah. So my question is, beyond scoring the points, what kind of attitude, work ethics, or character does a young player need to make it in today's game?
That's a good question. Outside of scoring, there's only so many shots in a basketball game. You can't shoot them all. So, and there's 5 people that play at a time. So 10 in the court, but 5 people on the team. So not
Yeah,
everyone's going to shoot the ball every single possession. So you have to do
yeah,
something. So that ability to screen, set a good screen, that'll get you on the court. The ability to rebound will keep you on the court. The ability to guard the ball, be in help, talk. I think that's the biggest thing. My advice to the younger generation, if you want to play as many minutes as you want, touch the ball, whatever you want to do, score, all that, I think you have to have the ability to talk. Because if you can talk, that means you can help your teammates out. You could talk through the defense, and your coach will trust you. I think as much as you talk, you find trust in everyone on the court. So I think
yeah.
those are the big things I would say to keep yourself on the court outside of scoring. Because if you could pass, you can play defense, you could rebound. And like I said, if you can talk, you'll find yourself staying on the court more than or at the same amount of time as a person scoring 30 points because you're
Yeah, yeah.
assisting
Thank
them.
you.
That's elite score. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I get that. And then thank you for actually clarifying this point because
Hmm.
it's a very delicate issue we have now in today's basketball, whereby everybody wants to score, everybody wants to be
Yeah.
the hero in a game, and it's actually killing the sports. It's actually killing the passion for the game, though. So yeah, I
Hmm.
mostly stress about this point exactly. So yeah.
A great question.
Yeah, yeah. So you came from the States to Kenya, whereby you had facilities, as you said, you had facilities whereby you could walk by, enter and put some shots up, work on your game level and stuff. But yes, in Africa, it's not like that in that situation. We've got some kids in the rural areas who are not like opened to this kind of facilities than like the it's in the urban areas and stuff. So for a young player who may not have access to fancy gyms or coaches, what are the fundamental skills they can work on in their local courts?
For them, you know, honestly, I think it's an advantage for those that don't have too much infrastructure, like don't have too much coaching or hands-on, especially at an early age. I think like just being able to, you know, just be freestyle and like learn your own game, I think that's a benefit in its own. But then for them, those that don't have too much, I think the biggest things is working on your ball handling and finishing. Like if you could do ball handling every single day with just a ball, any type of ball too. You could have a tennis ball, a football, anything
Yeah.
circular as long as you could bounce it. I think like that in yourself, you're getting better every single day. And then, you
Mm,
know, if you don't have a hoop, you can work on passing, you know. Also, you can work on defense. You don't need a basketball to work on defense. Or even now, you can
yeah.
work on your athleticism. You know, doing plyos, so jumping up and down, running up and down the court. Those stuff, you know, you don't need a court, you don't need a ball. Like those are the simple things, you know, to just elevate your game slightly. But like if you do it every
Yeah.
single day, now you're taking a step forward.
Okay, okay. To the young ones out there watching this, this is for you. In the rural areas with not enough facilities or well-trained coaches at your disposal. So, yeah, Derek just said it. You just need to work on your your agility and handling and everything. And maybe in case you one day get to be see this big gyms or fancy gyms, and then you can enhance your game from that side as well.
Exactly. You're already a step
Yeah.
ahead.
Yes, let's move to the education. Let's shift this on the same topic of advice to the young talent. We one thing we know in Africa is parents are not supportive when it comes to the sporting events like the US and European countries. You know, when you tell your mom, I play basketball, I play football, they tell you, is this going to put food on the table? Is this going to earn you the money? Not knowing how the game has actually evolved. They want you to go to
Mhm.
school, learn the book, forget about the sports, so they don't support that much. How can a young talent or a young athlete use basketball as a tool for education and building a better future for themselves, both on and off the court?
That's a good question. For me, myself personally, I actually got a scholarship to go play. So from high school to college or university, I got a
Mm,
scholarship off of basketball. But what helped me was how good I did in school. So therefore, I had education scholarship and also a basketball scholarship for my first few schools. So
mm,
I used basketball pretty much to get me into university, and then from there, kept playing basketball. Hope to become a professional player one day, but kept staying in school. I got my bachelor's actually, graduated, and then I actually went back and got my master's. So I have all these degrees at the end of the day, but I'm a professional basketball player right now.
yeah,
And obviously putting food on the table with that. But like if basketball ended tomorrow, I'd be able to fall back on something. So definitely don't put all your eggs in one basket trying to be a basketball player because not everyone will make it there. But my hope and dreams is that everyone does do that. But at the same time, it's important to have education. So when you do become a basketball player, you're able to educate yourself on things in basketball and also outside of basketball. So now you can not only be a basketball player, but you could be more than that. And I think that's what's important at the end of the day.
yeah. Thank you very much on that submission. I think it's a powerful message you sent out there to parents, and then, yeah, parents, this is the opportunity you have to give to your child not to miss out on a lot because as Derek just said, now basketball evolves around education and it pushes you very far. So yeah, don't stop your
Exactly.
kids from doing what they love. They can still combine sports and education, and it's going to tally a lot. Actually,
Exactly.
basketball has become a catalyst to education now, whereby when you do good, yeah,
Yes.
yeah, when you do good, it pushes you to that level you don't aspire to be. So yeah, that is it out there. Um, let's also look at this segment of the show whereby you would want to talk about your future after basketball. When this whole career ends, you're not going to play basketball forever or something, as you just mentioned. There's going to be a time your body would give up. You feel like, yeah, I can't go any further anymore, and I have to call it a quit, hang up my shoes
Mhm.
and stuff. So, what's my first question on this section is when people hear the name Derrick Ogechi in the future, what is the legacy you hope? or you've left for Kenyan basketball when they mention your name?
My hope is definitely that I was able to change the game of basketball here in Kenya.
Mm,
Not only just here in Kenya, but able to put Kenyan basketball on the map, not only in Africa, but be able to, if I was to go back to the US, people be like, oh, we know Kenya basketball because of Derrick Ogechi, something like
yeah,
that. I think that would be huge and be able to have, kids looking up to me and see what amazing, not only player that I am, but the person that I am. I think that's
yeah.
the biggest piece of it all.
That's a massive dream, and I hope it happens for you. Yeah, I hope it happens. Nothing is
Thank you.
impossible, actually. Yeah, nothing is impossible. So
That's the plan.
yeah, yeah. My second question: what is your biggest, most ambitious dream for the future of basketball in Kenya?
Be able to have, a nice arena, like an NBA size arena where we can
Mm,
actually fill it all to capacity, have a league with sponsorships, be able to not only have just the Premier League at the top of its game, but now have youth basketball also involved and create an ecosystem where not only men's basketball is being elevated, but also women's basketball at the same time. I think that's the perfect future for basketball here in Kenya, and I think it's definitely doable.
yeah, it's actually doable, and we hope organizations and potential sponsors or investors who are hearing this should wake up to this and then make it happen. Yeah,
For
yeah,
sure.
that's yeah. Do you see yourself moving into coaching, mentorship, or sports management to help build the game after your playing days?
Definitely. Actually, right now, matter of fact, I co-founder of a team here in Kenya that plays not in the Premier League but Division 1 league. My master's was in sports administration, so
Oh, okay.
definitely hopefully continue to own this team and go into coaching, I think as a player, I think the biggest thing we can do is go into coaching and be able to, give back to the youth and make better players than the ones that we were ourselves.
Congrats on acquiring a team for yourself in Kenya.
Thank you.
So viewers, we've seen a team owner, a potential team owner in the making. So yeah, kudos on that. Anyways, can we know the name of the team you co-founded? The name of the team.
They're click mambas. We're called click
Click
mambas.
Mambas. Okay, it's
Yep.
they are the Mambas with the Mamba mentality. So yeah, watch out for them,
Exactly. There you
Kenya.
go. Perfect.
Yeah. My last question on this section of the podcast. If you could make one changes to the basketball system in Kenya tomorrow, what would it be?
Organization, I think that's what I would change, being able to schedule not only youth games, but high school games, university games, and also the Premier League, all putting them together where now they run smoothly, postponements, I know that,
Yeah.
we have outdoor courts, so that makes it difficult when it rains and the weather
Hmm.
advises, but being able to have like a year-round schedule where all these things are connected, which will elevate the games tremendously. So I think that in itself would be one of the changes I would do.
Yeah, that's nice. I like the fact that you equated this to the grassroots level, whereby you want to see changes in the high school levels and the universities and stuff. Those are the fundamentals. Those are the places I think federations to focus on, because without the younger generation or without the grassroots, there won't be any basketball in the future. So I think
Exactly.
I like as you hit the nail on the head on that point. And yeah. So I would like to do something quick with you, which I call the lightning round.
Word.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you some few questions and see your answers. My first question is your toughest East African opponent you've ever faced.
Toughest.
Toughest East African
You're
opponent you've ever
Nani.
faced.
My only
Nani.
loss so far is the Uranani Burundi team. Yeah, that's my only loss so far in Kenya slash East Africa. So,
Oh, okay. And how was the game like at that moment? How was the euphoria around that game for you?
it was a crazy game because we played it in TZ actually in Tanzania. We were up, we were leading, and then down the stretch, they made a free throw or a buzzer beater at the end of the game. So we lost. We ended up losing by 1 point. Tough loss, but it was definitely a good game, a battle through the end.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. My second question: favorite place to play basketball game in Kenya?
Oh, favorite place.
Mm-hmm.
Nyayo Stadium
Nice stadium,
because
the
the fans
famous
are so
stadium.
close and it's exciting. Yeah, the famous stadium. It's exciting to play there. I don't know. I don't complain too much. Kasarani is also fun, where we hosted the Elite 16. That was a good time when we got to fill it up.
Yeah,
But the fans are a little bit too far away. But Nyayo Stadium, the fans are on top of you, so it's amazing atmosphere.
I see. I see you like the fans close to you than being wider
Yeah, you
apart
have
from
to.
you.
You have to.
Okay, okay. And this will be a tough one though. Your all-time Kenyan starting five. What will be your all-time Kenyan starting five? Yeah.
Griffin Lagare, Tyler
Okay.
Ongwai,
Okay.
Bush,
Mm,
PK, and
okay.
there's one more. Hold on.
Yeah, one
There's
more.
another good. Albert Ordero.
Okay, I was
That's
actually
a
waiting
solid
for
one.
that name. I was actually waiting for him to be in. Yeah,
That's a good one.
I hope you didn't miss anybody so that they don't come fighting you later on. So asking why you didn't
It's
put my
okay. We
name
can
in there.
talk about it later. We can
Definitely,
argue about it
definitely,
later, so it's okay.
definitely. My last question would be: what one thing about Kenyan basketball culture that the world needs to know?
One word.
No, one thing about Kenyan basketball
One thing.
culture. Yeah, one thing about Kenyan basketball culture the world needs to know.
We're getting better. We're Kenya to the world. We're on our way. That's for sure.
Okay.
We're on our way.
Okay, okay. Derrick Ogechi, thank you for your honest and your passion and for representing Kenyan basketball with such pride. And you are you are exactly the kind of voice we need in the conversation of growing the game. Thank you for doing this with me.
Thank you for having me. I truly appreciate it.
Yeah, this has actually been one of my best podcasts so far, and I enjoyed the smooth run and the transparency and the honesty from this. So, yeah, thank you very much. To our listeners, if Derek's story resonates with you, share this episode. Let's amplify the story of those building the game from the ground up. This has been Growing the Game, and my name is Kekeli. Catch you on another episode.